Hello, Isaac and friends. Today I want to give you guys an epilepsy warning. There is some flashing at the beginning of this video as we kind of do a small Batman skit. So, be warned. There are flashing lights. Very, very bright flashing lights. If you have epilepsy, please skip ahead.
Da na 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 na.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's your buddy Isaac, and we're going to be doing the build and review of the Batmobile Batman versus Joker Chase. So I hope you guys are having a good day. I've actually got a buddy with me today.
Hello.
You guys probably recognize his voice. He's Treblowski from Treblowski and the Wacky Puppets. He's always a good buddy of mine. He lives close by to where I live, so we usually hang out, chat.
Trying to do a thing where we have more than one puppet play games and a little bug on the box. So I've been trying to. I play all my characters, so I'm trying to do all my at least 3 characters playing a game. Trying to do mainly Christmas stuff. We played Tattletale. This week we did Dead Rising 4 since that's got a whole Christmas thing to it. And we do Polar Express, and we cap it off with the Grinch PS1 on the Jim Carrey movie. Meanwhile, Isaac, you realize you're about to end Lego Bros rabbit hole.
It's funny is Trey actually used to do a lot of Lego animation.
I had a lot of ideas. I just wasn't able to make a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe the puppet stuff takes off. I'll find time to do both.
Who knows? Well, I mean, I've always offered to help you out with that.
Anywhere we could work.
But
like
nah.
I said, biggest problem we have with either helping with Legos or the puppets is my job. I work the week and I get weekends off.
Mm-hmm. And then I work the weekend and then get weekdays off.
So besides, we also have a game night on Tuesday. There's only one day we could actually work on. That would have to be after work on Wednesday, daylight. But then that makes things difficult because of daylight savings.
Moon Pie is pawing at the window because there's another kitty.
The most interesting thing about the Lego superheroes.
Could you hold on to those for me?
The interesting thing about Lego superheroes is how it started out originally with just a theme based around Batman. That was retired. And then they brought it back as Lego superheroes so they could do stuff with these Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
DC stuff apparently finally whittled back down to just Batman to the point that half of it was superhero stuff featuring Batman.
No.
Which I kind of had a lot of those. I even had the vintage Adam West Batman. I wasn't able to fully build it because I didn't have anywhere to put the whole back page. Also, I am proud of this. I knew about him before the movie. I had a Lego Batman set that had the Scarecrow, where he looked more like his
comic counterpart.
More like his second iteration of PAS before it looked like Leatherface.
Oh no, it's Batman as Lex Luthor.
It came with everybody's favorite, Jaime Reyes, the Blue Beetle, third Blue Beetle. Ooh, can I see that hood real quick? The cowl.
It's actually fabric. Don't tear it.
I know. I hate. They used to use a different, more paper-like fabric that stayed still, and then they switched over to this. Oh, that is something else.
What?
There's white plastic molding inside.
Yeah.
So the eyes are already covered. Used to be, what they would do is the head would have a dual print on it, and the other side would be white. Cowl on the white side, it would just be white.
Now he has a dual print, but it's just another face. One is just my closed, and one is open mouth grinning.
I think I don't think I could even do a whole thing in my actual section.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how many were lost when I moved, and I just think a lot of them because I have official and I have some good bootlegs from AliExpress. They do stuff no one ever does. Like that's why that's why I have some like the question. I had one for Metamorpho before he became evil. Guy Gardner, John Stewart before all of them. Oh yeah, I have John Constantine.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, it was it's legit. So I have a Ted Cord Blue Beetle who's unofficial and good. Unfortunately, they never made one for the era, the very first.
Huh.
Yeah,
So be prepared, guys, because he is an uber comic slash Lego nerd. So he's definitely going to talk our ears off about all the different Lego sets that are there. That's not necessarily a bad thing either.
now I just I don't I kind of haven't been up to date with a lot of them, and a lot of them I want now cost more time at the. One of them I had to get was the one for Egghead from the Lego Batman. That was a villain from the TV show voiced by Vincent Price, played by Vincent Price.
I'm
Let's see.
guessing that's some kind of grapple gun that's supposed to be.
Let me see. Box. Okay, that's the weirdest looking thing ever. It looks. Okay, that's the most bizarre thing. It looks like.
I think it's supposed to be like either like a spear or grapple thing.
At least this isn't the one that's based on like the Michael Keaton. That does the weirdest thing ever, where they did a solid mold of the cape and cowl,
Uh-huh.
like because that's how it was in the movie. But the cape is constantly going to the right, like it's always flowing,
Right.
and which actually makes it kind of interesting that the Flash move Michael Keaton Batman can't move his head.
They actually apparently tried to fix that for him and he told them no.
Like Michael Keaton's like, no, I can't play Batman unless I can't move my head. I'm not Christian Bale. Oh yeah, don't forget Beetlejuice is supposed to come out.
Wow, I hope they don't ruin it.
I hope they actually go to Hawaii like they were gonna do 20 years ago. I want that sequel. Winona Ryder doesn't age. Actually, apparently Jenna Ortega is gonna play Wednesday.
Hmm.
Yeah, my mom liked that one. She likes, but she also likes the Addams family. Pretty sure the whole don't attack me, guys. I'm pretty sure the whole thing was basically already a cool idea for like a paranormal school. They just happen to add some stuff from the Addams family, give it a wider reach.
Well, Winona Ryder also actually made it a point to try and make sure that Wednesday stayed, Wednesday.
Oh, Winona Ryder was in
Or I'm sorry, but whoever played
Jenna Ortega?
yeah, Jenna Ortega, sorry.
No,
I never watched it. Sorry, guys.
that's okay. They actually have a cool thing where Christina Ricci is played Wednesday in the live action.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen the live action films. I've just never seen the show.
Do you want to know something interesting?
What?
For the original movie, the director actually was going to have it be that wasn't the real Uncle Fester. That you don't have to be blood to be Adams. Literally, the entire everybody was like, "No, just say it was Uncle Fester the whole time. He lost his memory." And it was the little kid Christina Ricci, who's like, "Please don't do that. Just let him be the real Uncle Fester."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Okay."
The one time in which, one of the few times that the entire cast is joining up and saying, "No, please don't do it that way." Actually turned out well.
Let's be honest. Sometimes there are good movies where the director is basically saved at the last minute, or they end up being or they're wrong about their idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to recommend a movie to people available on Shudder. You can get a 30-day trial. I'm not people. It's called Christmas. Well, sorry, we need our DC Comics thing, but I promise we'll be going back. This is what it's like to talk to me in real life. When I'm not playing games.
Little clear red piece.
Out of your foot. Yeah. Remember that pain. So, okay. Going back to what I was saying. Christmas Evil is about a guy who, as a child, he's traumatized by finding out about you have kids watching these.
Yeah.
It's just about Santa. Santa is real. It's just in this movie, he's not real. So it ends up causing him to kind of regress and be a man-child, where he actually was. The whole movie's about him basically turning into Santa. Or he works at a toy factory and he finds out that the factories donate toys to a children's psychiatric hospital, but they're actually not going to. So he actually puts on a Santa suit, basically glues it to his body so he can't take it off. He goes to deliver the presents to kids at the mental hospital. But what makes it really interesting, midway through, while he's waiting for the orderlies to come out and start taking gifts, just starts trying to get into character, and he says, "Merry Christmas!" And it starts snowing, and it turns into a wholesome Christmas movie for a few minutes. Which is immediately followed up by him killing two dudes because they were being jerks. Then going to a Christmas party where he kills the life of the party.
Remember, there
Okay, unaliving two guys because they're jerks. And what happens is, at the very end, he's being chased by the townspeople with torches. So he gets in his van that he painted a sleigh on the side of. Brother's chasing after him. His van drives off the edge, and you hear the sound of falling, and you see his brother look up. The van is flying off the edge as it takes off into the sky and flies away. The director insists that is his dying dream because he died in the accident. I say no. Screw you. He believed that he was Santa so much he became Santa Claus. That's better. If you don't want to look up the movie, just look up Christmas. No way too many Christmas horror movies.
Just a wee bit.
But they're interesting. Okay, let me see. Oh. I
think he's just grabbing for stuff because he apparently doesn't know very much about Batman.
No, I do. I'm just trying to remember all the stuff I have. I have it in front of me. Let's see. I have like 20 Batman, a couple of Alfreds, got some Robins that could be Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, got a Jason Todd, I've got a couple Batgirls, got Bat Hound, got a couple Jokers, Harley.
Actually, you know what's funny, Trey? Did you know that Harley Quinn was actually made specifically for the animated series and didn't show up in the comics until after that?
Yes, I knew that. Always known that. Marvel did the same. Agent Coulson after the hit in Avengers. And Deadpool crossover a lot. Don't forget, Mr. Freeze's whole backstory was redone because of the cartoon.
Right? I don't remember what Mr. Freeze's original backstory was, but it wasn't the thing with Nora.
The video essay I should have watched, but I didn't. But apparently, the Ed Core Blue Beetle was supposed to be basically a nerdier Batman or Pulp. There was also one of the cool things about having a bunch back when I did rec films was I could kind of pick what I wanted my guys to look. How I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like my face, like kind of like I like the
His mind's like a lazy Susan. We'll get back around to it here in a minute. I can't. I laugh, but the sad part is my mind is pretty much the same. Give us a minute, folks. We'll be right back around to it.
one of the last videos I tried to make a huge thing that I got people cast for. Isaac was actually in it. He was Ray Palmer, the Atom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're talking about your last laugh animation?
Yeah, it was a. This thing was in. I admit now it was a very end. We had stuff like we had the entire Justice League. We had a nightmare sequence, Bat Who Laughs. At the time, you could get a bootleg nuts. It's
Yeah.
like 7. It's like 30%. I don't know if I could ever finish.
I mean, you could probably finish it. I mean, to be fair, like I was actually talking to you earlier today because I did post this about this on the community post, talking about doing something similar with like Zbashu's animated spellbook. Which, by the way, if you guys are into Dungeons and Dragons, I definitely recommend watching his videos. They are not only hilarious, but they're really good about actually talking to you about like what things like the action economy and various little useful spells and skills that can be great for use throughout the game.
Oh, right, man.
Yes, I did.
What do you think?
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, if you want to throw that on a shirt.
Yeah. But like I said, is no. To me, I would like to do something similar but with like sci-fi games. Cuz there's a lot of really cool sci-fi tabletop role-playing games that really should get a lot more love, but they don't get a lot of exposure, I think. But part of that is because D&D is pretty much the
Much more people would do stuff with Mastermind. I like the concept.
mm.
Comic book guy likes the RPG. I wrote a pretty good superhero story to the point that if we could afford an artist, we could probably do it.
Well, I mean, you and I have been bouncing back and forth that, so
It's just we don't have a couple $100 to draw the first page.
or the
and we're
art
not
skill.
good enough to draw it ourselves. And AI is terrible.
Well, that depends, but it's also the point of
I use AI mainly fun to make.
yeah, but it's also the point of you really want to try and use like living people rather than AI because
There is one thing I okay for, and that's like we'll have it generate some. That way, you don't run the risk of accidentally photo of someone for a video, and then stuff happens to.
like getting harassed or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've actually been a horror series that I've actually casted on Casting Call Club. It's kind of like an analog horror, so it can actually work as a reality game. Isaacson.
Ah, you mean
Look it up. It's called the Albert Apple Archive.
yeah.
Mystery about this kid's show that's back on the air. Puppets. Stickers.
Stickers.
Oh, and
Oh,
by the way, for anybody curious about all the stuff I've bought on all the knockoff Legos I bought on AliExpress, there's some stuff I swear they had, but I haven't been able to find again. I swear to God, when Invincible came out, they actually had some. Had some for the book.
Mm.
They actually had one of the I have this one. Onion from Irredeemable, another evil story. I kind of have a bias towards it. First one I read before Blazer, like the idea behind it, where it's basically this Superman type hero, but mentally unstable, and literally he became a superhero just because he has powers, and he thought it would give admiration. In fact, I may be completely messing the synopsis up a while since I, but he ends up making a mistake that ends up unaliving a bunch of people, and so he just decides that they're gonna hate me. Goes berserk on the planet about how his former superhero team trying to find out anything about him because really see they're also trying to hunt down his arch nemesis could actually stop him.
Hmm.
They even have a guy on the team who's basically like a techno man, Doctor Who.
But
Oh, and I have heard one thing about the show.
what?
They're not going to cross over with any characters in comics because Image Comics, unlike Marvel and DC, all characters are independently owned by their creators. So the owners of those characters have to give permission.
Hmm.
Yeah. So looks like we're not going to get to have that. We're not going to get to have Savage Dragon or Spawn. But for the longest time, I thought he was called Image Man because the comics logo had the eye, like he was Image's mascot, Image Man. Can you blame me?
I mean, I guess not.
But weirdly enough, with Image, they would do this thing where they were all the character artists, all the creators all own their characters, but they would still imply they were set in the same. Except kind of the opposite of what DC Marvel did, where basically stuff and then hey, we have all these different hero characters. Why don't we all just say place? They tried to do that right off the bat, so you end up getting some really weird stuff out of it.
Hmm.
Like, I would bet money that the Max, that's MXX and on, have probably been. They're both homeless guys.
Hmm.
Ever heard of Max MXX? It's a very interesting comic. The guy who created it is also actually cousins with Sam Feiss, who created a show. Sure, a lot of you probably haven't heard of called Cow and Chicken. Maybe it'll air on Checkered Past. Heard about that?
Don't know about what checkered past is, but I know what cow and chicken is.
Checkered Past is a block Adult Swim is doing, where for like a couple hours they just play a block of classic Cartoon Network.
Hmm.
And I think they got Curse of Cowardly Dog. And
Didn't Cartoon Network at one point have just an entire network of old shows called Boomerang?
Yeah, Boomerang.
Whatever happened to that?
I don't know. It was kind of like Nicktoons. It was a premium channel.
Huh. I don't remember it being premium, but okay.
I think sometimes it was available on packages. I think it depends on the provider.
Hmm.
I remember that used to be for the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Filled it with all the old Cartoon Network.
Right.
Except for basically anything off for taxes. Stop myself. Isaac knows what happens when.
Yeah, I do. Meow.
It's Bullpucky and Olivia. Oh. Oh, and
Get him, Senor Kitty. Meow.
so I think the last batch of bootleg figures from AliExpress I bought was when Thor: Love and Thunder came out. I was waiting for I bought 20 Beta Ray Bill.
For those of you not in the know, Beta Ray Bill is literally a.
Allow me. Beta Ray Bill in the comics was actually one of the normal a he was a normal alien from a race called the Corbinites, were destroyed by the Force of Murder. The guy who's meant Ragnarok and the Asgard. He gave up his mortal body to be powered, genetically engineered cyborg super warrior, like to protect his people while they were in hyperspace. So big shocking moment is seeing this monster able to effortlessly, and it's a really good story, and I tackled it.
It's also his favorite Thor character, and as much as I like Trey, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I've gotten to the point where I really hate every time he brings him up. Because it's all, especially when it's just after a major Thor movie drops and he's not in it.
I know the reason why now. Taika wasn't a fan. He only did it for cardboard. And the last thing I bought was one for Chainsaw Man because the gold looked cool. No idea what I'd do with that.
I mean, you could always make one of the hundreds of Chainsaw Man memed shorts.
I think the only idea I thought up with was like Chainsaw Man fights the Hulk, accidentally gets some of the Hulk's gamma blood, so it hulked out Chainsaw Man. I never really watched Chainsaw Man. I just know apparently blood instead of gasoline. I kind of have trouble keeping up with stuff. I'm only on episode 2 of Evangelion. I'll need to finish watching. That's my favorite one, Isaac.
I'm not knocking it. I love G Gundam. What I grew up with.
That's the one where the robots are.
Too?
That's the one where the robots are piloted by the suit.
Yeah, the fighter style.
Basically, once upon a time, Tommy. I'm still getting used to watching a lot of the stuff that you found Tsunami and realizing a lot of it was
right.
You make it a point when we watch the original Gundam to point out, they're not alive anymore.
Yes, naturalization in America.
Oh yeah, by the way, that new Dragon Ball Z Sparking game is Tenkaichi. Because Tenkaichi was actually called Sparking in Japan. Because Sparking is Alahedge theme. Yeah. So the Sparking games were actually completely different from the Budokai games brought over here. They were called Budokai Tenkaichi. Try to sort of connect it. And Tenkaichi, they just made up. A while, so don't quote me on that.
Quote him on it. Quote it on it and quote him on it till he dies. No, I'm kidding.
I look into getting you a Hui tablets and bucks, but
shelf? I don't know.
Now I do a lot of my.
Yeah, it's funny that I think about it. It's kind of hilarious that technically I've actually gone through graphic design training to some point, and yet I can't draw worth poo.
You know something? I have a skill at drawing that is terrible to be good at.
What?
I'm good at tracing. I own up to it. I only do it for like stuff like thumbnail. I was doing my live stream of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, so I would just take random for getting beat up. Draw over Homer to look like my puppet, and whoever's beating him up to look like whoever I was fighting. You know, I'm weird. You know, it's weird to be young enough to remember all those Lego Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the ones that like the ones by the same guy who did the Duck song.
What is the duck song?
No, the Duck song. Duck walked up, lemonade, run in the stand. Hey, bop bop bop. Got any grapes? Oh my God, everyone! What's the matter, Isaac? You never heard of it?
Never heard of it, but I feel old the fact that I've never heard of it.
It was like 2008. There was another one. There was a Lego Batman series I was a part of where I actually voiced a couple of things when I was really young, so I didn't know how to make my voices diverse. So I was, and I was also the Riddler. But then my Riddler got replaced, and I became the Joker instead with the same voice. That reminds me of Batman, where that Lex Luthor looks and acts more like the Joker, more like the Riddler.
Mm.
God, that was
What was?
back when we had hope for the It movie.
Can't have been that long ago.
2016 for his Deadpool.
Almost 10 years ago, really?
6 years. Only 2020. Actually.
Why do I feel old? I feel so old.
Children's toys. It'll make you feel better.
I'm slowly becoming that what was that one episode of Steven Universe where he starts aging?
Oh, if you want, I could try to hunt down those McFarlane Steve Universe Lego knockoff things.
I prefer you not.
You don't want to build the Mr. Universe's van? I
Go on.
think the voice of Steve had was really a voice.
It was a voice actor.
Found out he was also the voice of one of Jake's brothers. Yeah. Remember Lego Dimension?
Yes.
I do. I had stuff from where I got my beat.
Hmm.
So messed up. Lego had so many that for that game and didn't try to use anything else.
Didn't they also have Lego Ghostbusters at that point?
Yeah. And Asian from Lego Dimensions had The Simpsons, Possible, had Goonies. Which is weird because you probably could make a set off of the pirate ship
Hmm.
or the house or the Dietz house from Beetlejuice. Like there was stuff you could have done with that. You know, it's better than just IP.
Hmm.
Not to mention Doctor Who, which they kind of wait.
Wait, they had Doctor Who?
Yeah, there was a Lego Doctor Who TARDIS. Came with the current Doctor, the current Doctor at the time, who was an old dude, David Tennant Doctor.
Huh.
Also had a Lego Beatles Yellow Submarine.
Wait. You aren't making fun of the old dude that also happened to have been in Aliens, are you?
Oh, the big old dude in a blue costume. I'm not talking about Lance Henry. You know, by the way, Isaac.
Hmm.
You play with an actor named Bill Paxton?
Vaguely?
He was in an Alien film, a Predator film, and a Terminator film.
Huh.
And he dies in all three of them.
Do I dare ask who he is?
He was killed by a Predator, a Xenomorph, and a Terminator. Not cool?
It's cool, but now I'm trying to put a face to the name.
It'll come to you. After all, don't forget, Matthew Lillard has the honor of being part of the Scream franchise. He's been the voice of Shaggy, and I spoiled this, Isaac. It's months since
And he's William Afton?
he did it. Yell at him.
I mean, everybody knew he was going to play William Afton. That was like one of the first things everybody knew was he was playing William Afton.
Actually,
No.
he was Peter Mallard.
And then again, I also never watched the Hunger Games movies, so I was spared that horror as well as Twilight. So you're
Isn't Twilight why everybody said Robert Patterson was Batman?
and yeah. And then he actually ended up being a really good Batman.
Actually, Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of looking forward to Super Legacy. Just Lobo was supposed. Hey, that's a good choice that's a good choice for a villain. Lobo have fought in the past, and Lobo is on par with Super. Right.
And now we begin the ritual of which is kind of weird because everybody keeps arguing about whether Superman would totally beat Batman, even though Batman has kicked Superman's rear end like half a dozen times.
There's still nothing Goku can. Death Battle has done this 3 times to show no. At this point, they said, okay, Goku could win against any other version of Superman, but the actual main canon, no. It actually was a Lego idea I thought of, but the problem is nobody had this idea of like finding all these evil Supermen and having them all pop up in this versus the. I'm trying to figure out how he takes care of each of them. Like, I think the easiest one would be Superman to take care of would be Brightburn. because he's just a little kid, and he's just a little kid. Wouldn't hurt him, but he would at least try to neutralize him and put him on the right path.
Except the whole thing about Brightburn is that he's literally.
If he's in another universe, then his spaceship probably can't. That was part of it. His ship actually started communicating with the movie, and that's what made it go off the rails.
Yeah, and the thing that it was telling him and showing him was what he actually was. Which is pretty much like a space locust that.
I kind of. Okay, given the shape of the ship, I kind of got Saiyan vibes. Super strong, came red light on it. I guess he could be a Viltrumite. Their whole thing is. I've never watched Invincible, but my shorts feed is full of Invincible for some reason.
I mean, honestly, same here.
And I have Prime. I could watch it. That's part, like I said, I'm just still salty. My favorite evil story never got adapted, but
What?
Irredeemable. Because The Boys is basically
Crap.
Invincible is about the son of.
I lost a piece down there somewhere.
What is it?
Black grape piece?
Gunmetal?
No,
Dark gray?
just black.
Up your legs. Oh boy, this is probably fun for people who can't actually see. As it gets an exam. Because for some reason, when things fall, they bounce.
I don't know where my phone is. Otherwise, I'd use the light on it to see where.
I make this interesting. What I don't understand is why things don't just land, they have to bounce.
Right? I think the most irritating bit is just trying to get this thing to.
There actually was an Irredeemable movie development, but it got shook. It was actually part of this whole boom where after the success of a bunch of studios were trying to grab up smaller comics that were close to Deadpool or could be angled into like. Sure, that was not a word for a. Like there was talks about movie zombies versus robots, one based on Hippo Men. Bloodshot movie ended up. Well, I kind of count that one like the series of unfortunate events movie, where because of the star they got on it, it ended up turning into just a different movie completely than what it could have been. Because some actors have the ability, or like they basically take over and it just becomes something like series of unfortunate events basically became Count Olaf and these depressing
You guys are Jim Carrey?
Yeah, he basically took over the show and he ad-libbed and improv a lot of performances liked and kept in the movie. He was more interesting than Goldelair.
Yeah.
That's why I like the TV better. Neil Patrick Harris was also better for the role.
What, Count Olaf?
Yeah. It also had this dreary look to it that I think worked really well. And Patrick Warburton was Lemony, sound more like an investigative report. It was really cool. Oh, the Bloodshot movie, I'm pretty sure Vin Diesel took that over and just said, I don't care about the comics, I want to be a superhero. Which, to be fair, also happened with Johnson and Black Adam. Black Adam is a Shazam villain. No, I don't want to be a part of Shazam. Black Adam's his own thing. Black Adam got his powers from the same wizard, dummy. The whole point of introducing Black Adam is eventually seeing a movie where Shazam and Black Adam fight each other.
Here we go, raging comic nerd.
I liked the Shazam movie. I like the way they read the costumes, thought the designs in the. I'm a details guy.
I was about to say why, because it didn't look like the comic version.
One of the first movies didn't, but it was a good approximation. At least it wasn't like Birds of Prey where nobody wore their costume. Or even their clothes didn't even have the color schemes of their costume. Basically, unless they told you who they were, you didn't know who anybody was besides Harley Quinn. So, like, sometimes there's a reason why you got to do that so people know who these characters are. At the very least, Huntress should have been wearing purple. Wait a minute, Ewan McGregor is in that.
Yeah, and I recall it was also bad.
It was just weird to see that work. Star Wars.
Yeah. Okay, now that is just an awesome image, mental image.
Just still in the Obi-Wan outfit, just living in a mansion in the middle of the Scottish Highlands. Oh,
Just a Scottish, just Scottish Obi-Wan, just not giving a crap, just like the actual character, just.
I think for him or someone else, it was a Robin movie. I recommend that. Like the live action one about him going back to the 100-acre wood that's not blood and honey.
Yeah.
But if I could ever figure out how people capture footage from movies, I would try that. I know I'm not very good at it, but I'd still give it a try because it looks fun.
What, blood and honey?
No, like doing movie reviews. Especially since the people like Elvis the be like more laid back about it. You don't have to be a nostalgia critic.
What's wrong with Nostalgia Critic?
I don't have time to set up elaborate skits and I hurt my voice from. Plus, I don't have time to do an entire cover of The Wall. Barely make loops and. Okay. Okay, to be fair, that's old. I will. There is one thing I'll disagree with him on, though. I actually watched this once last year and again this year. It is not as bad as people out to be.
What is that?
8 Crazy Nights. Once you get past some of the more
Adam Sandler bits?
believe it or not, stuff like the dude stuff was not at the Sandler. It was at the insistence of the studio to make it more Sandler-ish. Because actually, you take that stuff out and some of the other jokes, it's a relatively serious story about a guy who basically became a loner and outcast in the world because his parents died on Hanukkah when he was 10 years old.
So wait, the studio basically said this is too serious and
Make
dark. Make gross jokes so it's not as serious and dark.
pretty much, but there's a good movie behind it. The good redemption. Just ignore the gross out jokes. Rob Schneider pretending. If and another thing, to be honest, I'm also not I'm not one of those anti-Sandler. Like I kind of see Adam Sandler the same way I see Adam. They're both actually talented, but but they've reached the point where they know how to be a diet version of themselves. You can tell when they really want to do something really passionate. They really want to do it, make it a thing, and then you can tell when they're just
Oh,
yeah, like back even people give him crud about like how he just uses his company to keep it to get his friends work, and you wouldn't do the same in that position.
I know I would.
You wouldn't use you wouldn't go on nice vacations while still knowing how to be how to be a default diet you.
Like, I don't think people remember that these guys are still humans.
Yeah,
You know, it's like you want them to be like uber exuberant about everything, but it's like no.
actually, apparently there's a lot of stories about Adam just being a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's humble, and the movie in Netflix where he was talking iguanas. Apparently,
Hmm.
the funny thing about that is
Three?
he already did three.
No, that was two. Thanks.
Yeah, 2, 3.
Hmm.
Your apartment. Okay, where he was the talking iguana. It's called Leo.
Uh-huh.
And what's funny is that he literally does the same voice that I swear was a voice he did for a random fat guy in Eight Crazy Nights.
Hmm.
And I've heard he's also really good in the Hotel Transylvania movie.
He actually is. I really liked him in Hotel Transylvania.
You know, in the fourth one, it's actually a sound alike.
Wow.
Good sound alike. Apparently, that movie was put together from other concepts.
Huh.
Yeah, Mavis was originally the character of like a different.
Now all I'm thinking is I do not go where blah 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 blah.
And Batman fought Dracula. Still connect. I actually watched that TV on Max for the Batman TV where he. They actually got away with a scene where a vampire Joker and Batman fight in a blood bank, and at one point he just gets blood rained down on him, but because of the lighting, it looks more darkish brown. That's how they got away with that. That's impressive. That's also the one where they ended up not being able to bunch of. For the longest time, for a lot of the DC shows, there was a thing where if they were in a movie, they weren't allowed to use a character in a product. Like
Wow.
because Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul were in Batman.
Wow.
That's why in Justice League Unlimited, there's that one random dude who looks like a knockoff of Black Manta. Because he was. They were trying to develop an Aquaman race so they couldn't use the character. And Aquaman TV is set in the Smallville.
Okay then.
Yeah. That Superman prequel series where somehow Superman ran into all of his main villains when he was still a teenager. or 20 something. Even people like Doomsday.
Fuck. Pardon my language, guys, but what?
Yeah, there's just a
What is Doomsday doing in high school
it's a dude who
in
has
this little tiny town?
It's a dude who has Doomsday's power inside him, and he can turn into it. Or there's also stuff like General Zod, Brainiac, Bizarro.
What was General Zod, the PE teacher?
Hang on. Oh, and they had an episode with Gold and Jaime Reyes as Blue Beetle. Costume that looks terrible. But I like the idea behind Booster Gold. I think there have actually been some people series where I voiced robot companion.
Hmm.
Problem is, if I wanted to do Booster Gold, there's only one voice I would try to do.
What's that?
I am the champion. Try to do my best Hercule impression for Booster Gold.
Why?
Because to be fair, Booster Gold is a guy who stole a bunch of stuff and used his historical records to stop crime, so he could build a brand. Started out as a phony, but eventually became a legitimate hero and even earned Batman's respect. Whereas Hercule Satan,
Phony through and through?
eh, eh,
Billy saves the world from Boo.
yeah,
Oddly enough, being just a nice person to him.
eh,
How to make the evil bubblegum man stop being evil bubblegum man.
bubblegum genie man. Yeah, I did have some AliExpress knockoff Lego Dragon Ball. I remember for a while they tried to sell this big gigantic grade ape.
Mm-hmm.
Never bought it, but when I finally saw it, Isaac, it's all as one.
Is one of my goddess statues?
Yeah, it was Big Monkey. Wow, I haven't said that since Godzilla on, and I'm sorry, it's just fun to say.
Big monkey.
Well, to be fair, well, no wait, saying Ozaru are the monkeys that have tails. Hog
Great.
is the ape.
Now all I'm thinking of, I will reveal my giant monkey. Oh.
Didn't you ever hear the VeggieTales song, Isaac? Doesn't have a monkey, but apes are apes. Loons are monkeys.
Great, you know the reference I was making.
Yeah. I'll just admit.
I mean, can't say there's not a reason to really be afraid of them.
It's because I've heard that horror story about the woman who kept her pet chimpanzee dirty for the most.
Do I even want to know?
Just ripped off her friend's face. Nothing too bad. Sometimes you gotta envy. Not nice.
Is it though? Is it?
Not as many people stumble upon horrible things.
Sorry, I just had to laugh there.
Trying to think of anything. Oh yeah. So I actually did beat all three Batman games. Which you want to see fun?
What?
Daffy Duck is in Lego Batman game.
Hmm.
Because he was in an episode of the Duck Dodgers cartoon Lantern. Green Loon.
Okay, I'm sitting here going, the heck is going... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking there was a big, longer piece that I was missing, but it's like, oh, no.
I've actually got one of those old Lego monkey where it was like a little monkey body, but it had 4 arms and legs.
Uh-huh.
They're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I have a Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, isn't he one of Flash's villains?
The fastest guy in the universe. One of his enemies is literally just a super intelligent. Keeps trying to either hypnotize humanity or turn everybody into.
Because he becomes from a race of super intelligent gorillas.
Just an island of super intelligent gorillas. It's always funny. I think it's funny that sometimes you have those heroes who have that one villain that doesn't really make.
Hmm.
Because remember, over on the Marvel end, MODOK, the big head guy, started out as a Captain America villain.
Seriously?
A Captain America comic. Then he became an Iron Man villain. He eventually just became a generic Marvel universe. And then randomly became an Ant-Man villain in Ant-Man Quantumania. For no other reason than some dude writing said, I don't understand. Kang's gotta have an under double cross him. Just pick somebody from the world that the nerds will. Get the big head guy. Video game that I think would. If it's good, don't tell me. The Avengers game did not do very well, I believe. Which I think wasn't the biggest problem with that. Basically,
Yeah, pretty much.
I think the one thing that proved it is play through the game once as Kamala Khan. The whole in elements. That way, your next playthrough actually make your own custom character with your own power set.
Wasn't that supposed to be like the original thing anyway? That you were supposed to be able to.
I don't know if it was the. You know one thing, a lot of those DLC costumes.
Mm.
And most of them, they would just make one variant and then colors of. Like, guys, Marvel Ultimate Alliance did better than you. A decade ago, 2 decades ago, a
Right?
decade ago, 2000, at least 10. Plus, not gonna brag, but Marvel Ultimate Alliance did have Beta Ray Bills and Ultimate Thor.
That's him bragging, folks.
Hey, it also had. Hey, it also had alternate. It also had an alternate skin for Ghost Rider, where it was actually the original Cowboy Ghost Rider.
Mm.
There were some fun ones with that. I mean, you randomly get Blade to join your party because you rescue him from vending.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Basically it's an adventure in the Marvel universe with your 4-player team.
Not. I'm just having a hard time imagining Blade having to be rescued from a vending machine.
Oh, arcade, claw machine.
That's worse.
At least the second game was a little more reasonable. It was just kind of an alternate take on Civil War. I'm never really storyline. Spider-Man, for a lot of people, I don't know why. That and I just kind of think it's kind of dumb to try to say superheroes need try to make superheroes accept collateral damage.
You mean accountable?
Yeah, you really can't enforce that because the bad guys aren't going to just be like, you know what, let's go fight over in that park or on the outskirts of town. You know, it doesn't really make sense.
Trying to say that the villains aren't like Dragon Ball Z guys of let's go wander all the way out to this nowhere place to fight so we don't destroy anything.
To be fair, the Superhero Registration Act was also a thinly veiled criticism of the at the time vagueness of Patriot.
I mean,
They basically never had a full outline on what the whole stipulations of it was. Besides the idea superheroes had to register their ID with the government and basically be like a brand. But I mean, but at the same time, I understand we lose Spider-Man one more day, but we also lose Planet Hulk, which was basically, quote me, I think it was their way of explaining why the Hulk wasn't part of Super War. He got thrown on another planet. Going back to my weird obsession, comics, it was Silver Surfer that was the chief animated movie. Always goes back to that, doesn't it? How we always find ourselves.
all the way back to Orange Horseman.
I'm almost done. I actually have a custom figure of the. Now we're building the Batmobile. Here I am talking about Marvel. Of the Maestro, which is a really cool evil Hulk from the. I'm really surprised they haven't had to try that's for Batman. Which is weird because the one bad guy from Batman Beyond was in the Lego Batman movie. And Blythe, the green skeleton guy.
Dude, I know who you're talking about, but I cannot for the life of me think. Blight, I think, is what his name was supposed to be. Because he was.
Okay.
Because he was nuclear radioactive, that's why he was like that, because of.
Yeah, his name is Blight. And the whole thing that all the Batman Beyond villains had to be weird or scary.
I mean, kind of.
Other times there were just stuff like the dudes who got cybernetically in.
I think they also had a bit in there too at one point where
Somehow back in that weird 1920s, they were able to make a gift that copied the Joker's personality into Tim Drake. He grew up. That way the Joker could come back. Sorry, but that sounds more like magic than science. Doesn't mean it actually had to be. That surprised me. Like it was the original violent.
Well, I was actually thinking about the time when they had the Batman Beyond Batman get spliced. Like, they had weird things like Batman getting, like, Terry McGinnis splicing his DNA with animal DNA and it almost backfiring on him.
Or how Justice League Unlimited revealed that Amanda Waller had actually took some of Bruce Wayne's DNA
because the world needed a Batman.
Injected it into Harry's dad's body, salted in which basically somehow turned his balls into Bruce's balls. So, to be fair, Damian Wayne didn't exist yet.
Yeah. I just like that point too that Waller is just like the world needs a Batman. Not a Superman, not any other hero. The world needs a Batman.
I don't, I don't know. I mean, the world could probably benefit from, the very least, another Mr. Terrific or everybody.
But I think it's also because the whole point is that Amanda Waller was saying is the reason that was, though, because of all of the superheroes that all the villains seem to fear the most, it wasn't Superman, it wasn't anybody else, it was Batman. Like, even world conquering villains like Darkseid wasn't exactly worried about Superman. His biggest fear was Batman. Because he knew Batman would know how to beat him no matter what.
Fun fact, Isaac. Santa Claus canonically exists in Marvel and DC universes.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Universe, he's an Omega level mutant. And in the DC Universe, he flies to Apocalypse every year to give Darkseid.
Actually, you know what's funny as well, though, like, just, I don't know, everybody's gonna like, oh, he's a Batman fan. Yes, yes, I am. But it's actually funny that in the one movie that Batman turns evil and sides with Darkseid, the Justice League does not survive. But everybody is always talking about, but Batman's just a person. He might be just a human, but he's also one of the smartest men to live.
Ted Kord's the same thing. He's more of a geek. Like he's more. I think his whole thing is more doing it for fun.
Where Batman's whole stick is that he's doing it so that no little boy has to ever suffer and see his parents shot by a punk on the streets again.
That's why I like the Elseworld stories. Like there's one where instead of crashing in Kansas, well, baby Kal-El is found by Thomas and Martha Wayne, so they raise him. So yeah, this is a man Batman, but there's a whole idea that he's way too cool as a Batman.
Hmm.
It's the idea that Lois Lane is able to try to take on a new identity where he finally does become super. Oh, and Lex Luthor is the Joker. Oh, and it's fat Lex Luthor too. Yes, there is a fat Lex Luthor has gone through a very interesting evolution. He goes back and forth between being a evil scientist and trillionaire. He also goes back and forth between thin and fat.
Hi, kitty.
Also,
I'm Moon Pie.
there was also a point where apparently he put his brain in someone else's body and they thought they were Lex Luthor. I'll look into that. I've heard about that. Hey. Bye.
Hey, buddy.
Uh, Actually, there's a really good Elseworld story called Man. Basically, it's what if Mom and Pa Kent had hit a flat tire, they didn't find Kal-El.
Mm-hmm.
Superheroes still exist, but the implication that without Superman, there's not that camaraderie. It feels like everybody's just worse. Some people are worse. The anti-metahuman sentiment, anti-metahuman sentiment is higher because they don't have Superman for representation.
Hi, sweetie. We're being catted, everybody. The Moon Pie has arrived. Hi, Moon Pie.
The best part is that Jimmy Olsen
He
ends up getting possessed by either Zod or Brainiac, and so he ends up fighting out in the field, and they end up in this Amish community. and this one big Amish dude runs up and is able to just and takes a hit from it like it's nothing. Of course, it's because Clark got raised by the Amish. Like I said, that's
So it's Amish Superman.
yeah, but that's why I was that's why I find it interesting.
You superheroes and your devil's lightning.
That's why I kind of like. That's why I like the. That's why I kind of contest the idea of people saying he's kind of a boring character when some people can actually go. Literally, without him, the entire universe would be worse, and not just because he was. I have. All right, I really like the Elves. I really, like I said, the Elseworld stories are fun. Like, there's one where Superman ends up in the Middle Ages, and for some reason, coincidentally, the wizard Lex Luthor has kryptonite. There's one where Superman ends up showing up during the Civil War, where for some reason he looks like Super Elvis. And at the end, he turns his spaceship into a horse and rides away. Yeah, when it comes to Elseworld stories, it's mostly Superman and Batman.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's some larger Justice League stories. I gotta look. I know there's some. I always got to appreciate Travelers Tales for their Lego games because you can always tell they're big whatever they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
Like how in Lego Batman 2 and 3, whenever Wonder Woman flies, they actually play the Wonder Woman song from or whenever Superman flies, they actually play the Tom Williams thing.
Right.
Oh, and here's something.
Mm-hmm.
There is okay. It's okay. It is clear that sometimes Marvel and copy each other, but one I will always correct people because this is fact. Say Marvel's Man Thing is a ripoff of Swamp Thing. Actuality, Swamp Thing debuted. His first appearance was in '70. While Man Thing's first appearance, Swamp Thing appeared in July 1961. Man Thing appeared the same year, but in May. So he came first. But they're totally different characters that happen to be living plant men. I mean, Man Thing looks cooler, and if you're scared of him and he touches you, you'll burn. A horror movie monster. A lot of Marvel actually started out doing a lot of horror stories. Well, kind of. Don't quote me on talking about 1 in the morning. The length of it's almost taken the length of an actual DC. Like this.
Well, that's about hour 20. Bag 4 for me, please.
That kind of focus. That's in the head. Oh, some people might be familiar with the more popular Elseworld adaptations. because it was adapted into animated film. They
Mm-hmm.
Superman Red Sun.
Huh. You mean Russian Superman?
Yeah, written by the guy who wrote Kick Butt. I don't know if we can say the name of the comic, Isaac. Let's see. Oh, by the way, for anyone getting into comics, be wary. Uh, Man, work yourself up to most of the works of Mark Millar and Garth Ennis.
Who are those guys?
They make good stuff, but they also make messed up stuff.
Ah.
Garth Ennis is known for his Punisher Max run, more mature Punisher story. It was actually good, really. He also worked on a new run of Etrigan the Deep.
Huh.
Oh yeah, I like Etrigan.
Please don't start summoning that crap in here.
Jason Blood can be bonded.
And don't forget his daughter.
On gone, O form of man, give rise to the Etrigan. It doesn't rhyme 100. Wish we had gotten that dark movie. So was Constantine.
I think we actually got something similar to it, though.
There was an animated one that had the guy who played Constantine.
Yeah. And if I recall, it was actually really good.
Yeah. I actually got that one Justice League What If movie where it's like alternate Batman. Where Batman is man's base or Mobius. Superman is the god and Tiger at work. The sun. Well, apologize if I used the wrong term. And Wonder Woman is a new god. From the new god. I don't think you could ever do a movie about the new gods because that's really complicated. You have to accept that the original Greek gods existed, and they all died and got reborn as heroes, and now constantly fight on two warring planets. I've got Isaac. I've got some. I've got a couple that list some synopsises for Elseworlds. I'd like to hear some.
Sure.
Okay, Batman and Dracula: Red Reign. Man faces off against Dracula and must become a vampire himself to effectively.
What?
Yeah. Followed by Batman Bloodstorm. Batman fights an army of vampires led by the Joker in Gotham City while battling a hunger for blood that dooms him in the end. With the finale, Batman Crimson Mist. Now fully vampiric Batman and evil Batman is survived by a tormented Alfred who goes on a killing spree of all of his former enemies.
Okay.
Batman teams up with Harry Houdini to fight child-stealing vampires in 1997. Batman/Lobo in a severely twisted version of Gotham. The Joker hires the infamous Lobo to take out the Dark Knight after Lobo unalives everyone close to Batman. Joker is forced to call him off after the revelation that the Joker is Batman's long-lost twin, Joey Wayne. Meaning Lobo would unalive him.
What?
These are what-if stories. You can do whatever you want. Batman, the Blue, the Gray, and the Bat. Batman and Robin in the American Civil War, and that's all it's. Batman, the Book of the Dead. The Waynes are a rich archaeologist family, and the story revolves around a lesser-known but important Egyptian bat god.
Okay.
Resident Egyptologist. Are there any Egyptian bat gods?
None off the top of my head. I'm not really the Egyptologist, though. That's more of like my distant cousin.
Batman, Castle of the Bat, based on the story of Frankenstein. Young Dr. Bruce resurrects his father to an avenging Batman to discover who killed his parents. Frank turns his dad into Franken Batman.
See, all I can think of when you say that is Pumpkinhead.
Batman Dark Joker the Wild, a fantasy tale of the evil wizard known as Dark Joker, his battles against the avenging Batman. I've read this one. Batman literally gets turned into a bat demon.
I am the night.
Batman the Doom that came to Gotham. Literally like this one.
Actually, now that I think about it, all I can see now is an evil Batman battling a Joker in priest's wear now.
Okay. This was co-written by the creator of Hexboy.
Hellboy. You can say it as long as it's not a curse word.
Bruce Wayne is a 1920s pulp fiction adventurer fighting Lovecraft-inspired monsters.
Hmm.
Ooh, I want to hunt this one down. Batman Hollywood Night. A severe head trauma causes an actor who plays Batman in film serials to believe that he actually is the Dark Knight.
Okay, that sounds cool. But the question is, which film Batman could you imagine that happening to in real
They're
life?
probably talking about the actual Batman serials from like the 40s.
Adam West?
Oh, that's even older than that. Oh,
But still, that would be funny. Adam West thinks he's Batman.
Batman Nevermore. Batman teams up with then newspaper reporter Edgar Allan Poe to solve a series of Raven murders. Batman Nosferatu, which is apparently a sequel to a story called Superman's Metropolis, which is basically a combination of the film Metropolis and. So this is a combination of Nosferatu and the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Batman. To be fair, I think Cabinet of Dr. Caligari had somebody who beat Joker. The Batman of Arkham, set in 1900, Bruce Wayne is an early psychiatrist, head of Arkham Asylum, with Jonathan Crane as his corrupt.
Hmm.
Hang on, I know other people are listening, so I'm trying to find. Ooh,
Go on.
Batman Two Faces. Casting of the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde as a Victorian era Bruce Wayne tries to purge both his own evil side, which is a version of the Joker, and that of Two-Face. The story is followed by the Superman monster. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, Gotham by Gaslight. Rollmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we are. Ooh, good. Give me a second. I want to go to the go back up. The Superman monster, a Frankenstein pastiche, which Victor Luther finds a crashed rocket with sleeping and sets about bringing it back to life using experimental machinery. A Frankenstein Superman. Okay, back up. Okay, okay, Superman Nation Divided. That's the one I told you was at the store.
Mm-hmm.
Superman at Earth's End, where it's a post. If anyone's ever heard of Atop the Fourth Wall, he did a video about it, but I like that comic. It's an alternate universe. It's an alternate universe where a big nuclear thing happened, and all the superheroes survived, but they lost their powers. About trying to rebuild society. While there's also a turf war between Shazam and somehow Shazam calling his powers down or restoring everyone's powers. And also nuclear destruction drove the Joker
Ah!
It's a fun story. Oh, one where Superman lands on Apocalypse and is raised by Darkseid.
Oh, look, an
No,
evil
no, wait.
Superman story.
Superman Distant Fires is the one where everything's destroyed. Superman at Earth's End is the really fun one.
Oh, no.
Superman looks like a big old Santa Claus, and he's trying to stop hyper-evolved robots from blowing up Gotham City. And when he goes to Gotham City, he discovers that there's a plan to make super Batman clones by twin clones of evil Austrian World War II guy.
What?
Yes. They cloned him and then made another clone, and now they're trying to clone other people and make evil super Batman. This same Superman went nuts because the nuclear fog completely cut him off from the sun, so he just went crazy. And at one point, he has to use a gigantic multi-chambered gun. Wait, hang on. Let me see if I can get a picture of it.
I don't think anybody will see it there, Trey, but okay.
You can see it, and then I'll just tell people. Look up Superman at Earth's End, and the gun he's holding is literally one of the first pictures of it.
That doesn't look like a gun. It looks like a giant hammer.
It's got like 4 barrels. It's called the Expunger. Seriously, it's the most weird. It's amazing. Oh, I love this one, Superman Inc. Basically, Superman is found by a different family, but he ends up causing trouble and learns to repress his powers. But what abilities he still has ends up turning him into a successful superstar and businessman. So his nickname is Super. It's another really good one. There's the one I told you about, the medieval. Ooh, I gotta look this one up. This one's one where Jor-El, Lara, and Kal-El were able to go. Look this one.
They're trying to make sure you guys can see the Batmobile being made here, but
okay, here. And another one, Superman, the last son of Earth. Infant Clark Kent arrives on the planet Krypton in a rocket from a doomed planet Earth. But he still has powers. He finds a green ring.
okay.
Superman speeding bullets. That's the Batman. Superman, Sons of the Jungle, where Kal-El is raised by apes. Super Tarzan. Ooh. Superman True Grit, where Kal-El lands in the English countryside and is raised to be ordinary, not draw attention. Still becomes a British superhero before the tabloids try to knock him down. And this was actually written by one of the guys from Monty Python. Okay, so what if Superman was in War of the Worlds? What? Okay, this Superman, yes, Tyrone, there is a Santa Claus. Little boy writes a letter to the day and it asks, there's a Santa, prompting Superman to dress up as Santa Claus and display, only to learn that he's been good by Bat Santa. That's wholesome.
It is wholesome. No. Santa Bat!
Ooh, there's a Superman and Batman one that's really cool. Superman and Batman, World's Funniest. Mr. Mixes Pinalik versus Batmite.
Oh. That actually reminds me of an interesting webcomic where Superman is apparently being possessed by Batman, all of the Exorcist.
Okay.
And everyone is cowering in a room.
Okay, here we go. This one's a controversial one, and even I'm like this. Justice League Act of God. When a strange energy hits Earth, heroes and villains alike lose their superpowers. Some refuse to into some disappear into the woodwork. It's a dumb story. Does it make For starters, there's the fact Mission knew all of the superheroes and villains losing their powers. Anybody who was mystically inclined or magically oriented just disappears. There's never an explanation for it. It's never fixed, and it has some infamous stuff. One of which being Wonder Woman losing her powers and becoming a Christian praying in a church, even though she is literally just a Greek goddess. Superman becoming an alcoholic because he lost his powers. In some ways that don't make any sense, because that would imply the only way Clark could lose his powers is if it somehow changed his DNA. It's just really.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Justice League created the cosmic plague hits Earth, killing all men except Superman and Lex Luthor.
the Batmobile.
I have more.
Do, 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 do. One of the things I gotta admit that I absolutely love about this is when the tires spin on the back, it causes the flame to spin as well, and that's actually a really cool effect.
Yeah, but if you're gonna animate static, you'd have to take the tire out.
Of course, you can also pop these little things off, and this comes out.
Isn't that technically breaking his?
They're stun guns, Trey.
Like how he makes Jason Todd use rubber bullets.
Right?
We gotta hunt this one down, Isaac. Justice League Shogun of Steel, set in feudal Japan.
Oh yeah, I love that one. In fact, I really like the Bat one, where it's the Batman
Ninja.
Yes. With Shogun Joker.
Okay.
What's even cool too is it has a little back door here, so you can literally store all your batarangs, your handcuffs.
Oh, Isaac, I have one more I want to recommend. Good.
What?
Come. Really good Elseworld story where superheroes retire. New generation doesn't know how to be superheroes, so the old superheroes come out of retirement. Artwork looks like photos. To the point that Warner Brothers Animation is like, yeah, we can never afford to actually make.
No.
Okay, at least. Plus, I think we kind of ran out of Elseworld stories after Justice League. There's not that many.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know you're talking about stuff, but I'm having fun with Batmobile.
Okay, I can't have fun with it. I'm over here. I'm just
to the review part of this. I gotta admit, I really like this Batmobile. I kind of grew up with it when I was a kid. This was, I believe, it was one of the original Tim Burton Batman.
Might be the cartoon, but the cartoon was. No, the cartoon had that big Cadillac like front to it, like my car has.
Mm-hmm.
That's got the little jet engine, like
I said, from like the original Batman movie with Tim Burton.
It's hybridized, just doesn't have the giant wing back.
Right, and I absolutely love those movies. Now, I will say
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin I like, but I guess as when I was a kid, but now I guess I'm a little older. I have a little
Talking about this stuff like
the Bat credit card.
I was thinking more about the fact taking a popular and actually really interesting villain like Bane and literally just putting him in the movie because Poison Ivy needs a henchman. And you literally could have just made a giant plant man.
Yeah, that's true. But and of course, you know, it comes with a Joker, which you can't see very well because his very pasty face reflects badly on the light.
Yeah, I learned a lot about lighting when I got Legos.
But I really do like this design. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little build and review. Honestly, because of so little stickers, this is the kind of Lego set I absolutely love. So this is probably one of our first ever 5 out of 5 Legos. What do you think, Trey?
I've actually seen some of the other Batmobiles over time. I've built some. Good. It's good. It's good for showing off the work film. Remember, I think of it from the animators. Like, if you were going to do any interior shots, you'd have to actually build a set for the.
Actually, something that's really cool about the interior of this one, Trey, is there's actually a really nice interior right here with all the stickers and everything.
Yeah, but what I was saying is, if you're trying to film it, you have to make a version of it. Or didn't take.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one problem with the Lego sets that use all black bricks. Really easy. From your...
But now that you're looking more closely,
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't have. The other ones use like the jet engine. You know, Lego tries to make sure they don't make a part to only.
right?
Don't tell them about the Lego Optimus Prime or the man will refinance his apartment.
I doubt that. But I hope you guys, again, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.